Create a YouTube 16:9 video using this script. Table of contents. Part 1. Intro about 3 Section 1. The day the universe spoke back. 2. A world holding its breath. 3. The 5 pillars of a new reality. Section 1. The day the universe spoke back. For all of human history, we have gazed at the stars with a profound sense of loneliness. We sent our questions into the void, carried on radio waves etched onto golden records. We told stories of visitors from other worlds, woven into myths, woven into movies. But they were always just stories, fantasies to comfort us. We were, as far as we knew, the only ones asking the questions. The universe was a grand, beautiful theater, but ultimately empty. We were the solitary actors on a tiny stage. We looked up and saw only reflections of ourselves, our hopes and our fears. Then, everything changed. It wasn't an invasion, no motherships darkening our skies, no lasers leveling our cities. It was something subtle, yet infinitely more powerful. It was a signal, a message, a clear, unambiguous, and intelligent pattern that could not be mistaken for a pulsar or a distant quasar. It was the universe finally speaking back. The moment the signal was verified and announced, a hush fell over the entire planet. For the first time, 7 billion people shared one experience. We were no longer alone. That fact rippled through civilization, ending one age and dawning another uncertain one. The moment became the contact. It was a paradigm shift with no return. It forced us to discard whole libraries and start anew. Every assumption about our place in the universe was suddenly questioned. The silence we called emptiness was a conversation we weren't part of. Section 2. A world holding its breath. In the days and weeks following the contact, humanity held its breath. The usual noise of our world, the political squabbles, the market fluctuations, the endless cycles of news and entertainment faded into an unfamiliar quiet. Instead, people gathered. They stood on street corners, in public squares, on rooftops, their faces turned upward toward the night sky, as if they could somehow see the source of the message with their own eyes. Strangers spoke to each other, not about the weather or sports, but about the single greatest event in human history. A sense of unity, fragile but palpable, descended upon the globe. We were no longer just citizens of our nations. We were all together citizens of Earth. This shared moment of wonder was a beautiful, fleeting thing. It was the calm before the storm, the deep breath before the plunge into a new and uncharted ocean. The questions began to multiply, growing more urgent and more complex with each passing hour. Section 3. The 5 pillars of a new reality. To understand what comes next, we must look at the pillars that hold up our civilization. These are the core systems that define our experience of the world. Our faith, our science, our politics, our technology, the very structure of our minds. The discovery of non-human intelligence will not just shake these pillars, it will force us to rebuild them from the ground up. Each one will become a battleground of ideas, a crucible where old certainties are melted down and new truths are forged. This series, The Watchers, will explore the transformation of these 5 fundamental pillars in the wake of the contact, examining how humanity changes forever when it learns it is not alone in the universe. First, we will journey into the realm of the sacred. How do the world's religions adapt to the existence of another, possibly older, intelligence? We will explore the crisis and the opportunity this presents, from the rewriting of ancient doctrines to the birth of new cosmic faiths. This is the story of our search for meaning in a suddenly much larger and more complex cosmos. Before the contact, our understanding of life was based on a single sample, one planet, one biochemistry. Every living thing we had ever studied, from the smallest microbe to the largest whale, was related. We were all branches of the same family tree, built from the same DNA-based blueprint. This made biology a profoundly provincial science. The signal from the stars was not just a proof of life, it was a message. And with that message came the greatest intellectual challenge in human history: deciphering an alien language. This was not like translating ancient hieroglyphs or an undiscovered human tongue. All human languages are products of the human brain, shaped by our shared biology, shaped by our shared psychology, shaped by our shared environment. As scientists grappled with alien biology and language, a new, even grander perspective began to emerge. If there is one other intelligent species, there are likely more. The universe might not just contain isolated pockets of life, it could be a vast, interconnected ecosystem. This idea gave birth to the field of cosmic ecology, or macroecology. Its goal was to understand the relationships between life-bearing worlds. The effort became the Apollo program of the 21st century. It pushed knowledge across dozens of fields. The moment the contact was confirmed, every existing political crisis on Earth became instantly obsolete. Border disputes, trade wars, ideological rivalries suddenly seemed like petty squabbles in a sandbox. Humanity was now a player on a cosmic stage, and a very junior one at that. The initial chaos and back-channel maneuvering quickly led to a stark realization. A fragmented humanity was a weak humanity. If we were going to speak to the cosmos, we had to do it with a single, unified voice. This became known as the one-voice mandate. To achieve this, the most ambitious political project in human history was launched: the creation of a planetary body with the sole authority to manage interstellar communication, sent into the void by a species that was, for the first time, speaking as one. The alien signal was more than just a message. It was a technological key. Buried within its complex mathematical layers were blueprints for new technologies. This glimpse was enough to ignite a technological explosion, unlike any other in human history. The first major breakthroughs came in materials science energy production. The dream of clean, limitless energy became a reality, solving the climate crisis in a matter of decades. Among the most significant technological accelerations was the one that occurred in the field of artificial intelligence. The signal's structure was so complex, so layered, that our existing computers and algorithms could barely scratch its surface. To truly understand it, we needed to build a new kind of mind. This led to the creation of the first true artificial general intelligences, or AGIs. They were, in a sense, the first children of the contact. These new AGIs possessed a cognitive power that was staggering. They became our indispensable partners in the great work of deciphering the message and unlocking its technological secrets. While the AGI question challenged our definition of mind, another technological frontier challenged our definition of body. The technology, which came to be known as gene sculpting, promised to eliminate hereditary illness, extend human lifespans, and even enhance our natural abilities. The potential benefits were undeniable. Imagine a world without cancer, Alzheimer's, or heart disease. Imagine human beings capable of living for centuries, with enhanced immune systems, greater physical strength, and even improved cognitive function. However, the ethical pitfalls were terrifying. The central dilemma was one of identity and equality. The fear was that bioengineering would create a new, permanent class system, a genetic aristocracy. The wealthy could afford enhancements for themselves and their children, creating a new subspecies of enhanced humans who were stronger, smarter, and longer lived than the naturals. This would create a biological schism in our species, a divide far deeper and more permanent than any economic or social inequality we had ever known. The technological miracles flowing from the contact, limitless energy, new materials, AI partners, genetic therapies, had the potential to create a paradise on Earth. But potential is not reality. The initial rollout of these technologies was anything but equitable. The infrastructure, expertise, and manufacturing capabilities were concentrated in the hands of the world's most developed nations and powerful corporations. This created a new and terrifying form of global inequality, the cosmic divide. While the global north experienced a new golden age, many nations in the global south were left behind. They watched as other countries built gleaming new cities. Their citizens enjoyed extended lifespans, while they still struggled with basic needs. The gap between the haves and the have-nots grew wider and more technologically profound than ever before. It was the digital divide of the 20th century, magnified 1,000-fold. This growing divide fueled immense resentment and political instability. Leaders in developing nations accused the global powers of techno-hoarding, of keeping the greatest benefits of the contact for themselves while offering only digital crumbs to the rest of the world. Grassroots movements and hacktivist collectives emerged, stealing blueprints for fusion reactors and gene sculpting techniques, releasing them freely on the dark web. The crisis of the cosmic divide forced the Contact Commission to intervene, shifting its focus from interstellar communication to global development. It launched the Equity Initiative, a massive, multi-trillion-dollar program to fund infrastructure and education projects worldwide, aiming to ensure that every nation could participate in the new technological economy. It was a recognition that humanity could not present a united front to the cosmos if it remained a house divided against itself. The ethical imperative was clear. The gifts from the stars had to be for all of humanity, or they would ultimately tear us all apart. The discovery of non-human intelligence was the single most transformative event in the history of our species. It was the moment the universe held up a great mirror to humanity, forcing us to see ourselves in a new and uncompromising light. For millennia, our story had been the only one we knew. We were the protagonists of creation, the sole bearers of consciousness in a silent cosmos. This belief shaped our religions, our sciences, our politics, and our very sense of self. The Contact did not just add a new character to our story, it revealed that our story was but one volume in an infinite library, and we had only just learned to read the titles of the others. This cosmic mirror reflected back to us both our greatest strengths and our most profound weaknesses. In our response to the Contact, we saw our incredible capacity for unity and cooperation. We witnessed faiths expanding their definition of creation, scientists collaborating across borders in a renaissance of open knowledge, and political rivals setting aside old grievances to speak to the stars with a single voice. We built institutions like the Contact Commission and the Parliament of Souls, fragile yet audacious monuments to our collective will to mature. For all of our history, we have been observers of the cosmos. Our relationship with the universe was a passive one. It was a vast, majestic spectacle. We were the audience sitting in the dark, watching the show from our single, lonely seat. We were looking at the universe. The Contact fundamentally and irrevocably altered this relationship. We were no longer just watching the show. We were being invited onto the stage. We were transitioning from being cosmic observers to cosmic participants. The path ahead is long, and the future remains unwritten. But the new reality has given us two unwavering guide stars to navigate by. Humility. Humility is the great lesson of the mirror. We have learned that we are not the center of the universe. Physically, spiritually, we are one form of intelligence among many possible forms. This humility is not a source of shame, but a source of strength. Wonder is the great gift of the open door. For all the anxiety and turmoil, the Contact has reinfused our world with a sense of boundless possibility that we had begun to lose. It has reminded us that the universe is not a cold, dead place to be exploited, but a living, mysterious, and magnificent place to be explored. It gives us a reason to look up at the night sky not with a sense of loneliness, but with a sense of anticipation. We began our journey as a species huddled around a fire, telling stories to keep the darkness at bay. Now, we stand at the shore of a cosmic ocean, having learned that the darkness is filled with other fires, other stories. Armed with humility and guided by wonder, we are finally ready to build the ship. The age of the Watchers is over. The age of the Voyagers has begun.